Well, as you know, the president has been facing criticism for not holding a Veterans Day event on Monday and for skipping a visit to an American cemetery in France over the weekend to commemorate the end of World War I. Today, with that as a backdrop, he went to a pair of military events. This afternoon, he attended a White House Veterans Conference. He and the First Lady also visited the Marine Barracks in Washington. The barracks supports both ceremonial and security missions in the nation's capital. Earlier, I spoke about this and more with Democratic Senator Tammy Duckworth, an Army National Guard veteran who lost both her legs when her helicopter was shot down in the Iraq War. Senator, I'm wondering what you make of the president's visit to the Marine Barracks, given that he had no public events honoring veterans on Veterans Day and skipped that World War I remembrance in France on Saturday. Do you think this was sort of in response to the criticism he received?
Oh, I think it's 100% in him trying to make up for the fact that he couldn't be bothered to stand in the rain to honor our heroic dead on Veterans Day, that he's had a terrible week and he is trying to take credit for things that he's not done and to cover the fact that he's had a miserable week and he's not been there for veterans.
He obviously, often touts the strength of the U.S. military, his commitment to troops. Does it concern you that he has yet to visit troops in any active combat zone? Is that hard to square with what he says about his support for the military?
Well, there's a lot of things that he says that doesn't square with what he says he does to support the military. And exactly, if he truly cared about the troops, he would go visit them in a combat zone. He would go to the cemetery, whether it was raining or snowing, to honor our heroic dead. He certainly wouldn't send 5,000 troops to Texas to defend against a caravan that is on its way to Tijuana. And look, we still have 80,000 veterans who have not yet gotten their payments for their housing allotment, so while they're going back to school in the GI Bill. He's failed miserably when it comes to supporting our troops and their families.
You're talking about the troops being sent to the border. Secretary of Defense Mattis said yesterday, when talking to the troops being sent to the southern border and the role that they'd be playing or talking about them, he said that they'll be there as, quote, confidence builders. Certainly the U.S. military has a lot of priorities. Is confidence building one of them?
No, if anything, those 5,000 troops being sent to the Texas border when the caravan 1,000 miles away is headed towards California, and they're being sent to the border over Thanksgiving and potentially over Christmas, is, if anything, it's going to bring down the troops' morale. It does nothing. He did this as a political statement, and it doesn't help our troops. It doesn't help readiness. If he truly wants to support our troops, then he should pay more attention to making sure that we actually have a strategy for North Korea, that he provides the funding to support our veterans, those who are going back to school in the GI Bill, for homeless veterans, that he fills the 40,000 vacancies that exist within the VA right now in programs that have everything to do with homelessness to mental health.
I want to ask you about something that you posted on Twitter that I saw on November 12th. You said you were celebrating your, quote, Alive Day. Can you just explain what that is and why you call it that?
Well, my Alive Day is the anniversary of the shoot down, the day that I was wounded. It could either be a day of great sadness, looking back at my injuries, or it could be a day of really celebration and thanks. And I give thanks on that day. I choose it to be my second birthday to thank the men who saved me. They are my moral compass. I live every day, and every decision I make is to make sure that they're never embarrassed or ashamed for the work that I'm doing now in the Senate, and to live up to the sacrifices that they made. It's a real time to really think back on what are we doing here, what can we do to support our troops, what can we do to make sure that our military men and women and their families are well supported.
Well, Senator Duckworth, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.